Salam raza, soy el oficial 500 Barakiala con el I.S.U.P.K, que es la Escuela Israelita de Conocimiento Universal y Práctico. El 1 de abril es la 54ª Pascua anual del Señor, y este año será en la ciudad de Raleigh, en Carolina del Norte, en los Estados Unidos. Todos los llamados latinos, negros y indios nativos que descienden del lado de su padre están invitados y bienvenidos a reunirse como un solo pueblo, porque somos una nación. Somos las 12 tribus de Israel, y este 1 de abril celebraremos el día en que el Todopoderoso nos libró de los egipcios y destruyó su imperio. Entonces, hermanos y hermanas, nos vemos en Raleigh, raza. Órale.
Hey, just
power of FFF. If you know what he understood as an act of destruction.
Tú eres un hombre hispano, negro, o indio nativo. Tu lugar es aquí con nosotros. Nosotros somos tu verdadera familia. Deja de seguir la costumbre de nuestros opresores y toda otra maldita nación. Tú eres Israel. Nosotros somos la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal. Órale.
Power of FFF. If you know what he understood as an act of destruction.
Tú eres un hombre hispano, negro, o indio nativo. Tu lugar es aquí con nosotros. Nosotros somos tu verdadera familia. Deja de seguir la costumbre de nuestros opresores y toda otra maldita nación. Tú eres Israel. Nosotros somos la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal. Órale.
hey, just for the record.
Esta imagen que estás viendo aquí no es la imagen de Jesús, el que está en la Biblia. Según Revelación 1:14 y 15, este no es el rostro que miró Juan. Juan nos dice que en la Biblia, cuando él miró a Cristo en el cielo, él tenía su piel morena y su cabello de lana, y sus pies y sus piernas como quemados en un horno. Esta imagen es el falso imagen del Cristo, dado a la gente de Latinoamérica por su opresor. Este es la imagen del diablo. Esta es la imagen que se ha dado para que nosotros nos hayamos perdido. Si tú tienes esta imagen en tu casa, deberías de ser lo mismo que hago yo. Esta imagen que estás viendo aquí no es la imagen de Jesús, el que está en la Biblia. Según Revelación 1:14 y 15, este no es el rostro que miró Juan. Juan nos dice que en la Biblia, cuando él miró a Cristo en el cielo, él tenía su piel morena y su cabello de lana, y sus pies y sus piernas.
Salam, Israel. Les invito a ustedes que el 1 de abril en Raleigh, Norte Carolina, vengan a 54 Pascua del Señor. Vengan, raza, a aprender la otra parte de nuestra cultura, la otra parte de nuestra historia, a participar en algo que necesitamos, lo que es carnalismo. Vengan a verlo, raza. Les invitamos otra vez el 1 de abril a las 5 de la tarde en Raleigh, Norte Carolina, en el centro de convenciones. Vengan, raza. Con eso, SHALAM. Hey, what's going down, Rasa? Shalom, Israel. What's another Wednesday night? This is the Wednesday night law class. Holding it down holding it down for priest and officer to Wagga Bar. You know what I mean? Representing I.S.U.P.K Southern California. We're also tuning live to I.S.U.P.K Nevada and I.S.U.P.K Los Angeles. And just give me 1 second, Rasa. And of course, I got with me tonight, Mighty Warrior, right here out of Southern California. Young man Jaime, ate the water for tuning in, carnal. Appreciate you, man. Hey, what's going down, carnal?
Everything.
It's órale, man. Yeah, so as we're doing it again, Jaime, another Wednesday night, we're gonna teach some law, some brotherhood. Tonight's topic is the law is carnalismo. Now, of course, to Christians in the world, when you hear, carnalismo, when you hear the law, you assume that those are two separate things, right? Christians don't understand that, the laws, what Christ taught, what the Ten Commandments translate to is brotherhood, right? And Christians also, that Christian church has blinded us as a raza, right? To not understand that our issue, right? Our problem is that we have lack of carnalismo, or lack of brotherhood, and lack of sisterhood, right? Because brotherhood and sisterhood go synonymous, right? And the law is brotherhood and sisterhood. So that's the topic for tonight, which is brotherhood, carnalismo, and the law. They all go hand in hand, man. That's something that we lack. You want a good example of carnalismo and how it benefits a race of people? Go look at the Mayans. Go look at the Arabs. Go look at the East Indians. Go look at every other race of people, right? Especially right now, the Chinese. You wonder why America respects China? Why with everything China has done to the United States, you're not seeing Chinese children rounded up in ICE detention centers. It's because they're unified as a people with brotherhood, man. They're unified with carnalismo, and that's what's going on. We lack brotherhood, carnal. That right now, what's circulating over the internet right now, Jaime?
Takashi just got beat up. Did you see that?
Right, yeah, right. That's circulating all over the internet right now. Everybody's, talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine getting jumped and beat up, which I understand he was acting like a fool, and antagonizing people. But I saw even heavier posts, man, that the brother from Florida, Officer, what's his name? Officer I.S.U.P.K posted, man, and he was calling out like everyone's quick to go jump Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? But George Zimmerman is okay. He's not harmed.
Right.
No one does anything to him. And that's the lack of brotherhood we have, man, like for our own. Now, I'm not saying for anyone to go assault and harm, try to do anything. But it just comes to show how we go out of our way to go and beat up our own. We go out of our way to to unalive our own, right? That's our problem as a people. Because why? Because we lack brotherhood and carnalismo. And that's what Christ's mission was. Christ's mission was to teach that brotherhood to the Israelites out there in the time of the Roman captivity, right? You had the tribes which were that lived in Jerusalem, the Israelites, right? The Jews, as they were called, that grew up in Jerusalem, lacked brotherhood and sisterhood towards Gentiles, which were Israelites that lived outside of Jerusalem, that were under Greek identity, right? That were living like Greeks, that adopted Greek tongue and Greek culture and philosophy. They didn't consider them, their brothers and sisters. So that's where we're tuning in today. That's what Christ taught, man, which was that brotherhood, man. And give me a second, man. I'm gonna pull up the first precept. You could, Jaime, because we're gonna go into this, man. You know what I mean? Let's go into what first, if you could, Carnal, pull for me the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. Let's start right there, man, because we need to understand what's going on right now.
The book of Romans
13 and 11, Carnal.
13,
I'm gonna see it ahí. Because what else has happened? What else happened today, Jaime, here in our side of town, right? I know you've been watching the news, Carnal. You see the weather is going crazy, man.
It's going crazy, man.
Yeah, like things that don't normally happen out here happen out here are happening out here, man. We just had a blizzard a few weeks back. Now today out here, not too far from where I stay at Canal, we had a tornado. We had tornadoes out here in LA.
Good night.
It's like
Yeah,
what is it, like the day after tomorrow? You had the snow
right.
falling over there on your side, and then we got the tornadoes out here. Man.
It was. I mean, it's unpredictable weather. You know, the Most High, you know, is
Right.
working.
That's what people don't understand. That all this that happened, that tornado touchdown, that was God that did that. The blizzard that hit, that was God that did that, man. You know what I mean? And of course, you know, real quick, let me shout out the chat. To Officer Shabal A. Shalam, Adawan Yepesher Bakta, to the who's this, to the brother Avant A. Shalam, Yepesher Bakta. You know what I mean? Got people tuning in, of course, tune in. Put, you know, like and share. Most importantly than anything, like and share this class. Like and subscribe to the channels. Spread this truth out, man. Get this word out, man. The Lord, we always put it in the prayers to open up the internet and the airwaves. Well, here's how we do that. We also got to, you know, like and share. So like and share this class, Bubba Kasha. So let's go. You got it, Jaime?
Conrad Cancer. The Book of
All
Romans,
right.
chapter 13, verse 11.
And
that knowing the times, that now it is high time to awaken out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed.
Right. So what the scripture says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, right? Everyone, and that's the thing, you can thank the Christian church for that, because a lot of our people are still asleep, man. The Christian church has put so much of our raza asleep that we don't even realize what's going on, man. When you see such a our raza is so quick to, like I said, I can bring up the whole thing again right now with 6ix9ine getting jumped, right? Everyone's caught up on that. Everyone's quick to harm another black or brown man or woman, you know. But meanwhile, America, you know, is getting ready to mobilize and you know, start rounding up and murdering raza, start rounding up and murdering black and brown men and women. You know what I mean? I don't know if you tuned into the show we did, La Pura Neta, Jaime, where we brought out what Trump wanted to do during his presidency. He wanted to launch missiles into Mexico to stop the cartels. You know what I mean?
Good night.
I'm gonna bring the article out again, right? Because of course we got that situation, right? That's how asleep we are, that we'll go and assault street vendors, we'll go and harm, you know, black people, you know what I mean? Thinking that we're separate people. Black people show their hatred towards Mexicans, you know what I mean? Thinking we're two separate races of people because we're asleep, man. When we're not paying attention, we're not awake, we're not knowing the time, you know what I mean? We're not seeing the suffering and oppression that both of us have, which is that, you know, both of us are getting murdered by the police while unarmed. Both of us are working slaveries overtime and getting paid close to nothing. Meanwhile, your bills are getting worse and worse. Yet that interest is getting worse and worse. The price of food is getting higher and more expensive, harder to afford. All these things are happening, man, and we're not aware to it. We're asleep. And that's why Christ is telling us, and that knowing the time, that it is high time to awake out of sleep. Pay attention to what's going on around you. You know what I mean? You're over here worried about what 6ix9ine did, you know, while he was going around antagonizing everybody. Meanwhile, you're over here, you know, you're not trying to enact justice on George Zimmerman. People talk about he's hard to find, but meanwhile, 6ix9ine was, you know, easy to find. You know what I mean? So it just comes to show how we hate our own and we let the enemy slide. We forgive the oppressors, man. We forgive them, and that's how we're asleep, man.
And you know the crazy thing about it is that they rather film it than stop it. That's my thing.
Right.
I mean, that's so wicked, man.
Let me show you. Let me show you. This is what's happening. This is how asleep we are, I mean.
The same fucking race you have, I have. I'm not going on your face. I'm actually. You go ahead. Okay, you see? Yeah. You're harassing people. You're harassing people.
You know what happened? You know what happened?
Illegal.
I was walking. I was.
Back.
You
You're
step back.
you're racist. Okay, you see, you actually even calling me racist. You go ahead. Illegal. You go ahead. Illegal.
Why do you
They have permit for graffiti. They have permit for graffiti. They have permit for graffiti.
You know what happened? You want to see what happened? I was walking.
Sí, ahorita.
This is a lack of brotherhood.
Ahorita le
Man.
vamos a
This is
dar
a
este
lack
video a
of,
la policía.
and these other nations see it, and that's why this happened. These other nations show their hatred for us, Jaime. And we don't even realize it, man. You're gonna see more incidents like this happen from these other nations.
You know me, bitch? You know what I went through?
Sí, déjale. Ahorita viene la policía.
Now let me show the other one, right? So thinking that this only happens to Raza. Remember this video, Jaime? Let's see if I can find that video. Might have took it down, right? The internet's very sensitive nowadays to where you can't even show anything. But I just want to show this incident, man. Let's see if I can find the video. You remember that incident in Arizona, right, where the Asian man came up to the brother, right? You know, that was like filming outside his apartment or something like that.
No, I don't recall, sir.
Okay, let me see. Let's see if I can find the video. I'm gonna share it. This is happening in Arizona. Oh, here it is. This one, right? Because I showed the lady, right?
Why are you coming over here?
I just want to see what you guys are taking pictures of.
Why is it your business?
Well, you know what? This is my home.
Okay, mine too. Why are you taking pictures
Where
of
you
me?
live?
I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan plates?
Yeah. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had...
Oh, let me see if I find a better one. Here we go.
What's the issue?
What's up?
Why are you coming over here?
I just want to see what you guys are taking pictures of.
Why is it your business?
Well, you know what? This is my home.
Okay, mine too. Why are you taking pictures
Where do
of
you
me?
live?
I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan plates?
Yeah. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had problems here.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware
I'm
of
a
that?
racist.
You are a racist.
I'm a racist.
Well, so trip out on that, right? He's admitting to being a racist. Now, the previous video I just showed you, right? The Asian lady assaulting the street vendors. Now you got this man assaulting this brother right here. You know, I forgot what he was doing out there, but he's a YouTuber.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So what's your point? Why are
They
you
have
here?
nothing else. They have nothing else better to do than to worry about us.
Really.
Oh, is it?
Right.
Not really, sir.
Tell me.
Look at this, man.
So
what's
the
your
issue?
point? Why are you here?
Because this is a no zone.
So he straight told him this is a no. You know, I mean, I don't know if I can say the word now because as sensitive as TikTok and YouTube is, but he said this is the no N-word zone. You know what I mean?
Right. Come.
That's just comes to show you how these other nations view you, man. These are Asians. These are the same Asians that are pushing the Stop Asian Hate movement, right? When they were getting, called out for, for the COVID, getting blamed for the COVID and getting assaulted and stuff. Now, like I said, let me put the disclaimer in there. I'm not saying for anyone to go assault anyone, but what I'm showing you is that these nations, other nations view both black and brown the same way. They look at you as inferior to them, and they think of themselves as better than you. Hey, to Officer Bakar, Shalom, I don't want you. You know what I mean? So that's the reality of it, man. We need to wake up, as the scripture says, Romans 13:11 said, now is high time to wake out of sleep, because being asleep, we can't understand why this man is being racist towards this black man, why that Asian lady is being racist towards the so-called Latinos. We can't understand it because we don't understand that these other nations hate us and they love their own. And that's what we need to do. We need to love our own. How do I tie it back in? We need to love our own and come back with that carnalismo for ourselves, that brotherhood and sisterhood. Know what I mean? So let's get to it, right? Now go to the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6, because I was talking about knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Chapter 4?
Matthew 24 and 6. Actually,
the book of Matthew.
Salaki, start at verse 4. Yeah.
Come. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Right. So the first part of it said, right, 24 and 4 said, he said, take heed that no man deceive you. Now we'll go into what that the way we react, the way we fail, we fail to recognize the hatred towards us is because we've been deceived. Keep reading, Carnal. Go to verse 6. Right? Or start at verse 5 again, Salakia.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Right. For many shall come, Salakia, Carnal. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Many will come and say that they are, because we know the word Christ means anointed. Many shall say that they are certified priests, that they are holy men and spiritual leaders that know what's best for us, right? And it says it shall deceive many. You know who 24 and 5 is talking about? That's talking about your Christian pastor right there that tells you to love everybody, that tells you it's wrong for you to be mad, to hate your oppressor because of the evil that they do to you. The same pastor that teaches you to be docile and passive when these other nations show their hatred towards you. The same pastor that tells you to hate that black and brown man. You know what I mean? To not to go ahead and be against them coming over here, quote unquote illegally, that they telling your Rasa to say that Rasa's got to come over here the legal way, telling you that black people are ghetto and violent and you can't trust them. That's who this is talking about right here. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And that's been the problem with us throughout history, man. We have so many black and brown leaders that have failed us and have misled us and deceived us. Now, go to verse 6, Kanal Salakia.
Book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Right. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for these things must come to pass. Now, Jaime, what's going on right now in China?
That's right. We recently had one of those Russian planes, collide with what is it, a U.S. drone or something like that?
Right. With the Ukrainians, right? In the Ukraine,
right.
Like still going down. Russia and Ukraine are still warring with one another. And now the rumors of war. What's going on with China, Jaime? What are they doing right now as we speak?
They're, I believe they're taking over Africa. They're going to Africa, right? And they're uniting with Middle East also.
Right. Well, you heard of BRICS, right? Have you heard of BRICS? All right. So there's this thing. Okay. So Captain Kwan brought it out in camp this Saturday, right? So what's going on right now is you have something called BRICS, which is an alliance that's going on between Brazil, between Russia, between India, between China and South Africa, right? And here's the heavy part, Jaime. They I don't know whether they offered Mexico or Mexico wants to join that alliance, but they're offering Mexico to join them. You know what I mean? So here's the rumors of war, like what happened with the cartels, right? Where they murdered the 4 Americans, and what's happening with Mexico, apparently trying to join BRICS. That's the rumors of wars that they're going to use as spread rumors about Mexico so that America could go in there and invade Mexico. You know what I mean? Because there's the other part about, recently it's been discovered that there's lithium in Mexico. So is America really pushing this propaganda to go and invade Mexico so they could get the lithium? Also, right, the rumors is also the increasing talk about the tensions with China. Right now, as we speak, the United States military, right, they got their spy planes flying over what's called the South China Sea, where they're looking and seeing all the military bases, right, artificial islands that the Chinese are creating, right? And America, it's rumored that the tensions are just rising higher and higher with America and China. China has made threats. I believe it's all over the news, right? Like right now that the threats China has made to America. I forgot, telling them to not push their luck or something like that. That they're ready to go, full out, war with America and go on a nuclear war. The tensions are just getting higher. Putin's made threats, right, towards America. And America right now is charging Russia, right? They want to bring Putin in for war crimes, right? Because here's the total mind blow, Jaime. America is charging Putin, right, for taking Ukrainian children and deporting them back to Russia. so he's mad about Putin taking kids. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, what did America do? At the same time, America has our kids locked up in cages.
Talk
about a hypocrisy. Talk about what is it? As the saying goes, the pot calling the kettle black. They want to charge Putin for war crimes because of what he's doing to Ukrainian children. So what should America be charged with then, right? Because what America do with our raza, with our children, right? They got our children locked up in cages. America has no room to say anything, man. But of course, that's why the oppressor. That's why we say it. The oppressor is the devil. The Bible speaks of, because he spreads these lies, tries to portray himself like he's the good guy, and he believes in freedom and equality for everybody, when he doesn't even follow that. And the proof of that is the way he treats both black and brown lives. You know what I mean? But we'll keep going. You know what I mean? But the end, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. This is only the beginning. All the rumors of war, all the conflicts, with the rumors of tensions with China, the rumors of America trying to invade Mexico, the war with the Ukraine, the war in the Middle East. You know what I mean? There's war throughout all the earth. Now read the next verse, Public Shah.
Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Khan. So for nation shall rise against nation, right? This is talking about, race war. This is a race war going on right now as we speak, man. This oppressor is waging a race war on us right now. What happened? You had El Paso, you had Gilroy, you had right now along the border, you got these oppressors that are out there right now, armed with their weapons, ready to kill Mexicans. You see the way America treated the Haitian refugees that our brothers in Texas went and helped. You know what I mean? Of course, the mission to Acuña. You see this oppressor, like they put out the alert, right, about the rise and that the white supremacist groups, right, are the biggest threat to national security as we speak. That's why they stormed the Capitol. That's why they stormed, because they, those are all your white supremacists out there that want, that do not want black and brown people to be empowered. You know what I mean? So that's the nation against nation. And then the kingdom against kingdom. Well, we just showed you, you know what I mean? Russia, China, Ukraine, America, Taiwan, all these nations and kingdoms are against one another. And now here's the heavier part, right? And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, man. As you see throughout, with this whole COVID-19 outbreak, you know what I mean? You got food shortages, water shortages. What have we been suffering over here in California, Jaime? We've been suffering that drought, right? Where the water, the water's been running out. Now, people are saying that the drought is over because of all the rain we had, but we'll see how true that is within the coming months. Because I believe every year there's always been storms that come and refill up those reservoirs and lakes, and but just like that, the water runs out because this oppressor just wastes all the water, you know what I mean, and doesn't leave it for anyone else. It's so bad that water doesn't even go into the water from the Colorado River runs dry. You know what I mean, Jaime? That's when I heard that in school, right, in class, like that tripped me out. Like the Colorado River doesn't even go empty into the Gulf of Mexico anymore. It runs dry. You know what I mean? And there's your famines, your food shortages, right? The price of food is ridiculous, man. It always talk about, there's a chicken shortage. Of course, we don't eat that, but there's been a pork shortage. There's been a shortage in meat and all types of food. When you go to your McDonald's, when you go to Carl's Jr., they always put the little saying right there, due to a national shortage where we don't have all our items on our menus. You know what I mean? So there's your famines. And then throughout the world, you see the famines going on, man. You always see those infomercials, talk about send 75 cents to feed these African children and somewhere out there, you know what I mean? Because they're in famine. And then the earthquakes in diverse places, right? I mean, just yesterday you had was it yesterday or was it the other day? You had an earthquake in Ecuador. A day before that was an earthquake in Chile. And then before that, like a few days back, is an earthquake out there in somewhere in the Middle East. There's just earthquakes all throughout the earth, right? All that is happening, right? Because this is Christ telling you that this is what time is going to, telling you what time it is, right? That's why back in Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, it is now high time to awake out of sleep. The famines, the war, the pestilences, the earthquakes, all this should make us realize what time it is and that we awake, right? And now I'm going to go into how we wake up. Let me show you how bad it is, man. You know what I mean? I think I need to show this, Jaime. I need to show the Colorado River. You know what I mean? Let me show this video real quick, Carnal. Like this river doesn't even, doesn't fit. That's too long. This video might be too long. Look at this here. How long is this one? Just 5 minutes to see. We'll share this one real quick.
This is the end of the Colorado River here. It's where the Colorado River would meet the sea if so much water wasn't taken out upstream from here. There's a little bit of water in this tidal marsh, but we're mostly driving through an area that is dry. It's a pretty stark view of what are the environmental
Look at that.
costs.
Look at that, Jaime. There's like almost no water in there.
That's sad.
And that's the Colorado River. That's Mexico. This is Mexico.
So that there is very little left for that river and for the ecosystem that depends on it.
Imagine how much wildlife they had to kill to do
Most
that.
of that water,
right?
Nearly all of it is diverted into a system of large canals. And so what remains south of the border for miles and miles is just dry riverbed.
That is crazy, man. Look, you see the white ring around the river, like all this right here?
Right.
That used to be what this is how much water used to be in there. Look at that. There's another ring right here. Or what they call it, the bathtub ring. And that's how much water is no longer in there. That's how much water America takes from the Colorado River, that this oppressor takes. You know what I mean? Because they consume everything. You know what I mean?
Huh?
What the science has been showing lately is that the higher temperatures with climate change are dramatically altering the watershed so that the same level of drought becomes much more severe because the landscape is drier, more evaporates off the landscape before it reaches the tributary streams and enters the river. So what the conservation groups have been doing, the people who work for those groups, they planted thousands of native trees. Even with a little bit of water, these environmental groups have been able to have real benefits for the ecosystem.
So they're trying to revive it, right? But this just comes to show, the point of that is to show you, the famines, you know what I mean? And this is here in if you recall, let me show the Mississippi River, right? Because people think, will think I'm making this up.
Is drying up. Water levels in some areas near historic lows. It's already impacting supply chains and local tourism. But officials warn the situation could get worse soon. The river expected to keep dropping in the next few weeks. Right now, barges are getting stuck in mud and sand. Companies report
these barges, right, Jaime, that we're talking about, right, are what transport all the crops, all the food up the river and down the river.
They're not loading as much cargo on the ships so they can travel safely and not bottom out. The Mississippi River is, of course, a critical shipping route, especially for farmers. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers now dredging parts of the Big Muddy to keep the traffic flowing.
Right, so that's just, it just comes to show you, right, like the scripture said, now is a high time to awake out of sleep, man. That the rivers are drying up. Right now, it's gonna look like they're revived, right? And that we're back in business, but it's only give it a few months, give it a few weeks, however long, and you're gonna see that they're gonna be dry again, and then it's gonna go back to food shortages. But that's what's supposed to happen, because this is exactly how it's gonna be until a righteous people are in power. If you could, Jaime, let me go to pull this precept real quick. Jaime, pull for me the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right.
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
Right. So when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, right? And that's why you got all the situations out there going on right now, because you have a people in power, right, that are not supposed to be in power. They are the wicked. They are the wicked. That's why everything's all jammed up the way it is, man. Because we got people in power that are not supposed to be in power, man. And who's in power? This oppressor, man. This oppressor is the one that consumes everything. He just consumes everything and is unjust. And he's the one that's why you got that situation with 6ix9ine. You know what I mean? Of course, people won't understand what I mean by that, but because him being in power, him pushing this Christianity, is why you get situations like that. You know what I mean? Who told 6ix9ine to go and be that whole, use that test my gangster, movement that he was doing, where he was going town to town antagonizing? Who do you think put him up to that? That was the oppressor, man. The oppressor put him up to that, to do all that and act that way. It was that CEO that said that that Amalekite, manager, CEO, that told him, like he's got to be, controversial and relevant and be a troll so that he could get people to follow him. Well, that's what happens at the end, man. Like you do all that and it comes back to, poor brother got caught with his pants down, man. It's literally,
right?
Because people were asking, oh, why was he running, like that, looking like 1-9, man? They beat him up. They took his pants off, man. Like, it's crazy, man. But it just, like I said, man, it comes to show how, we need to wake up out of sleep, man. We need to pay attention to what's going on. That's what Christ was pushing. Now, how do we wake up out of sleep? I'm going to show you what the first step is, man, into waking up out of sleep. Just give me 1 second, Jaime. If you could, Baba Kasha. Let's go into, if you could, go to the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3, or 5 and 1. 1 John 5 and 1.
1 John 5 and 1.
Yeah, let's go to 1 John chapter 5, verse 1. And then let me get there with you. Because this is how we awake out of sleep. This is how we keep the law. You know what I mean? As they say, you know what I mean? This is what I mean, how we show that carnalismo is the law, man. Whenever you got it, carnal.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 1. Whosoever believeth that Jesus is the Christ is born of God, and everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also that is begotten of him.
Right. So
Salakia.
nah, you two walking now. Let me read with you. Whosoever believeth that Yahweh Shai Mashiach is born of the Most High, right? That he's of God, and everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also that is begotten of him, right? So everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also begotten of him. So if you follow Christ, you follow the Most High. If you love Christ, you know, if you love Christ and you begat him, well, you're gonna be begotten of God. You know what I mean? If you follow Christ, God is gonna be with you. That's what it's saying. Now, Christians, right? When you hear this precept, right, you're gonna sit, or this verse, Christians automatically are gonna say, well, yeah, that means you believe in Christ, right? You believe in Christ. And you ask them, do they believe in Christ? They're gonna say yes. But here's my question, right? And this is a good way this is a question that everyone should ask their pastor, right? Is belief an action, or is belief just saying you believe in something? Let's go on to the next verse. By
Verse
this,
2.
go ahead.
By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments.
When we do what?
When we love God and keep his commandments.
By this we know that we love the children of God, right? And we're gonna go to what love is, right? When we love God and keep his commandments, right? So by this we know that we love the children of God, which is, of course, the children of God is the Israelites, which is the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans. So if you love the Most High, you love the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, right? And you keep his commandments. So going to the next verse, carnal.
Verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments.
One more time. What is the love of God, carnal?
For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
That we do what?
That we keep his commandments.
Keep reading out.
And his commandments are not grievous.
For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? So that's what it means to love God. If you love God, you love Christ. If you love Christ, you love that black and brown man or woman. And what is that love? Keeping the commandments, right? And what are the commandments? I'll give you a few. You know, to David Coronado, Shalanka. Keeping the commandments is carnalismo, right? What is carnalismo? Thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder. Salakia. Excuse me, YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm just reading what the verse says. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not bear false witness. Those are 4 examples of the commandments, right? Those 4 actions, right, translate to carnalismo. That translates to loving that brother, you know what I mean? Or that sister, because you're not going to steal from her. You're not going to steal from him. You're not going to plot on them. You're not going to lie on them. You're not going to murder them. You're going to forgive them, right? And that's what we need to do as a raza, man. That's why we need the carnalismo, right? And practicing carnalismo is how you believe in Christ, is how you love the Most High, right? And I'm gonna show you more how that means carnalismo. Now, if you could, Jaime, go to this next precept. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a brotherhood one. Any man that say Go to the book of 1 John chapter 4, verse 20, carnal.
Chapter 1, verse 20.
4 and 20, Simon.
Khan. The book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen?
Right. So if a man say he loves God and he hates his brother, he is a liar. Now, what do we pull out just right now, Jaime, in 1 John 5 and 3? That the love to love God is to keep his commandments. Now, why do you think this scripture is saying if a man say he loves God and hates his brother, he is a liar? Because he's not keeping the commandments. He's stealing from his brother. He's lying on his brother. He's lying on his carnal. He's sleeping with his carnal's woman. He's, spreading rumors about his carnal. Coveting, right? Well, the scriptures also say, thou shalt not covet, which is want what your carnal has. So you're trying to steal from him. For he that loveth not his brother, right, who he have seen, right? You see that black and brown man or woman every day, and you hate them, but you say you love God, because the next part of it says, how can he love God who he have not seen, right? Because that's what it means to love the Most High. To love the Most High, to love God, is to love your brother, to love that black or brown man as as yourself, which is to keep the commandments, meaning you're not going to do your brother wrong. You're not going to do your carnal wrong, which is what we lack. As I said at the beginning of the class, right, Jaime? Our problem is that we lack carnalismo. We lack brotherhood, man. And where's the proof, man? The proof that we lack brotherhood and carnalismo? The fact that you got norteños and sureños that exist right now. The fact that you got in the pintas, as they say, right, in the prison system, you got paisas and norteños hating each other, right? Now, I mean, I heard they did a peace treaty now, but the point I'm trying to make is that both these groups, right, exist in there and kill and murder one another. They rob and steal from one another. The main reason why Raza's locked up in jail right now is because y'all rob and murder from one another, man. Y'all do each other wrong. Brothers in the world sleep with that brown man's woman. You know what I mean? They sleep with their carnal's woman. You know what I mean? They go on them, social media sites. They see a woman that they're attracted to. They see that woman has a man, and they'll still go pursue her. And then where's the other part of it, right? Which is keeping the commandments, right? The scriptures say it's wrong. It's a sin to sleep with a whore. You know what I mean? And a whore is a woman that sleeps with one that gets around, right? Well, black and brown men need to stay away from women like that in the first place. See, you see how all these commandments, right? Like, you see what they're translating to, how they translate to carnalismo. Because if there's a saying, right, that's been brought out by the men above me, that they say if black men stop loving whores, women will stop being whores, right? Well, if brown men stop loving whores, brown women will stop being whores. It goes for both. You know what I mean? Stop hooking up. You see that woman has a man online and you're attracted to her, don't sleep with that woman. You know what I mean? Stay away from her. If that woman, if you see you see the red flags and you see that woman, her behavior, her characteristics, are of a whore, you should stay away and not sleep with that woman. If the scriptures say the commandments are not grievous, right? Here's the heavy part to that. Not keeping the commandments should be grievous. It's going to cause you great pain and hardship when you don't keep the commandments, right? When you sin. Now, if you could, or you know what? Before I go there, we're going to go into what sin is, right? Yeah, that's the scripture said. How can he love God who he has not seen? But when he hates his brother, and hating your brother is doing the opposite of keeping the commandments. And here it goes. Read 1 John 4 and 21.
The book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 21. And these commandments have we've Salakia. And these commandments have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also.
Right. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. Now, let me show you what happens when you don't keep that commandment. Let me show you, right? Because we talked about it. I'm going to show you right now. Let's see, is there raw footage anywhere?
Corny as hell. No human deserves that. Laughing because 6ix9ine got jumped is corny as hell. No human deserves that, for you to laugh at them immediately. Like, it's sad that the man got hurt. You should have a little sympathy. So don't laugh right away, because you got to give a standing ovation first. You should have stood up, clapped, and then start laughing. Because that's what I did. That's the human thing to do. Thing is, why is homie at LA Fitness? You the king of New York.
See, that's your lack of brotherhood. Like, everyone, like, you know, damn. Now, I understand, you know what 6ix9ine was, you know, antagonizing people. He was being a troll, you know what I mean? Going from town to town, you know? But it's like, dang, even till then, people make a joke out of it. Meanwhile, no one is trying to attack George. You know, no one does anything to George Zimmerman.
So there's a video going around of Tekashi 6ix9ine getting jumped at an LA Fitness. And I just don't understand, for the life of me, why he feels like he can move like this. When you do what he did, you are marked for life. No matter what you do or where you go, you are marked for life. Eventually, shit's gonna catch up to you. Regardless about how anybody feels about the code of the streets and how it doesn't mean shit anymore, there are still people out there who that shit means a big deal to them. It's a big deal. And there are people who can't stand him. After he got released, he didn't alter his behavior in the slightest. He didn't humble up or nothing. He kept acting reckless. He kept talking shit. So when I see this, I can't say I feel bad for him. I don't feel bad, because when you do that kind of shit, it catches up to you. And he should be very, very fucking careful moving forward, because this could just be the floodgates opening. This could be the beginning of people clout beating on his ass for a minute. Shit.
So let me show you. He said he was acting reckless, right? Let me show you what acting reckless is, man. This is acting reckless, man. Let's see if I can find a video, man. See, this is lack of brotherhood right here. Let me show this one. Good night, man.
Wait till George Zimmerman, one of you, the name of George Zimmerman, I'm on Trayvon Martin. What's that mean? Now I'm gonna get off. Thank God we're in a state like Florida to stand your ground. Thank God I live in a state like Texas. They got stand your ground law. Ooh, what you gonna do to him, Charlie? George Zimmerman? You playing with me, nigga? Oh, you shouldn't say that. I don't give a about the dead. I care about the living. What you gonna do to him, Trayvon Martin? He bothered me. Let him touch me. Trayvon Martin touched that grown man. They saw that grown man done that. Boy,
that's lack of brotherhood. You see what the Charleston White said, man, siding with George Zimmerman. Good night.
Country like I can't be touched. And the name was Stand Your Ground Law.
Kind of. Halak said we beat him up. We beat him up quick, but not our oppressors, right, Halak? You know what I mean? That's the reality of it, man. Beat him up quick, but don't, you know. David Coronel said he thinks he's hard when he's soft. And then he said 6ix9ine be helping out Raza with money. He was just drunk and high on drugs. That may be, you know what I mean? Like like I said, I understand, you know, that he was going around and antagonizing people. And of course, you know, like you antagonize people, you got to worry about, you know, you know, what goes around comes around. But at the same time, right, it's crazy, as I just showed you the video of Charleston White, like, you know, like siding with George Zimmerman. You know what I mean? And George Zimmerman was acting reckless. He was told not to follow Trayvon Martin, and he did it anyways. And then he went and tried to assault him, and then claimed he was assaulting him. You know what I mean? So it just shows, you know, like how like I said, that's the lack of brotherhood. Because let me say this: as wrong as 6ix9ine is, right, as you know, as reckless and wild as he is, the fact that you got people, you know, like, how do I say, glorifying it, and you know, like I don't know how to say, like, just you know, basically saying it, so, you know, like, let me say this. Let me stay off 6ix9ine. The fact that you got people siding with George Zimmerman, you know, that shows that's the lack of brotherhood. You know what I mean? Then the people that are saying give a standing ovation for 6ix9ine getting jumped and beat up, well, that's also the lack of brotherhood. You know what I mean? It just, the fact that people, you know, like the fact that that situation even exists shows the lack of brotherhood. I mean, you know what I mean? Just trying to find the right ways to word it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand, like I said, man, I understand 6ix9ine was acting a fool. He was doing all types of things. You know what I mean? But just damn, man, like it's like these situations exist because of our oppressor, man. And that's the
Salakia, if I
reality.
may,
Go ahead, Kanat.
it might have been a checking from the Lord, you know, because I mean, something like, you know, where, like the way he was trolling people, you know, people wanted to, you know, use deadly force on him or something. Hopefully, it's just a checking where, you know, he can be humble and, you know, get right, you know, get his head right.
Khan. He should, man. He should go get his head right, man, and you know, just, man, Lord be with him, man. That's all I could say, man. Lord be with
Because
him.
you know, because you know that kind of situation, you know, either you know prepare
That's
for revenge,
yeah,
or
yeah.
you humble yourself and you say, okay, I accept this checking, and you know, change his
Right,
ways.
right. I mean, and it just comes to show, man, how we need to, you know. It's like I said, like, we're quick to be, you know what I mean? We're quick to be Billy Badass with our own. You know what I mean?
Con.
We're quick to side with the oppressor when the oppressor attacks our own. But we don't, you know, defend our own. We don't side with our own. You don't hear nobody, you know, speaking out against what 6ix9ine did, you know, getting jumped, you know, and them cats jumping them, you know, and like I said, I understand, like I said, man, like, good night. I mean, that would be, you know, like, it's like I said, man, he did antagonize people, so it came back to him. But, you
Con.
know, he says he's very humble. He got to Mexico and bless his poor people. I mean, I'm gonna say this, you know, a lot. Drug dealers go and sell turkeys and you know, help their people out during the holidays. But the whole thing is, man, like, you gotta get out of that lifestyle, man. You know what I mean? Dealing with drugs, dealing with, you know, pushing this what this oppressor talks about, you know, his music, going and antagonize people. That's why it comes back, you know what I mean? But what we shouldn't do, right, is we shouldn't glorify it either as a people, man. You know what I mean? We should not be glorifying black on black crime, brown on brown crime, you know, black versus brown crime. And definitely, if we're gonna defend George Zimmerman, like, it just comes to show, you know, how lost we are, man. That's great. I didn't even know that video was out there about, you know, Charleston White, man. I heard, you know, some things, like some outlandish things he said, you know what I mean? But it's crazy that he went and, you know, sided with George Zimmerman. I mean, you want more like examples of lack of brotherhood? Let's just go to this situation, man. I mean, this is lack of brotherhood right here. That's, you know what I mean? That one and this one.
Today we decided to bring a mariachi in front of this man's front door for what he did to this vendor. Y'all remember this house? He was home, his windows were down, but he never came out. Blocking passage on public road. Yeah, you know what's more illegal though? Trying to run over a street vendor and running over his car. And this guy didn't even get arrested. There's no sidewalk here. Plus, we have security. We have the brown berets. They're doing traffic control, so I think they'll live. Shout out to our fearless women leaders, and most importantly, Dionisio was happy. Protect street vendors at all times.
You know what I mean? Like, our street vendors are not protected. Our people are, you know what I mean? Like, so much is out there. Like you know, so, you know, like, that happens to our people because we lack that brotherhood and sisterhood. You know what I mean? And let me say this, man. The Brown Berets, man, they got the sisters. They got the women out there, which is, like I said, man, like, not going to knock off, you know, like, that's us standing up, man. But one thing is you should not have your women out there in the battlefield like that. You don't put them sisters in harm's way, man.
Okay.
And that's, you know, talk about, you know, that's being misogynistic. Nah, man, that's just love, man. There's a white supremacist right there. And, you know, but of course, that's what I mean, man. Like, all these issues exist because we don't have that brother. We're not united as a people, man. It just, you know, it's a sad reality, man, that's why we're in here, man. We're here to teach this brotherhood, man. See, look, this is the one right here. This you're going to see so many, there's going to be worse attacks. Let me say this, Jaime. There's probably going to be more attacks and probably more from these oppressors on our street vendors, you know, because of, you know, that whole thing with the rumors brought out about Mexico. You know what I mean? So that's where we need to, you know, wake up, man. Now is a high time to wake out of sleep, man. Now is the time to come keep that Carnalismo. But let's keep going. So that was, you know, 1 John 4:21. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God loveth his brother also, right? And then, of course, oh no, it's a lot. If you could go to the book of right, because what does it mean when you hate your brother? When you do the opposite, right? Go to the book of 1 John 3 and 4.
1 John 3 and 4. This is the book of John. Salakia, the book of 1 John, chapter 3, verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
So like, let me put it up on the screen. So right, so as the scripture says, right, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. Right? So what is the keeping the law? Brotherhood, right? Keeping the commandments. So when you don't keep the commandments, that's sin. What does it mean to transgress the law? It's to break the law.
To break it.
You know what I mean? To be against the law. So that's our problem, right? That's why that situation with 6ix9ine exists. That's why our street vendors get assaulted, because we lack brotherhood and sisterhood. And a lot of the assaults that are, you know, you see circulating on the internet are our own attacking the street vendors. Yeah, you get white supremacists that attack them, but a lot of you see videos of you know, of our black brothers and sisters, you know, hating on Mexicans. You get videos of Mexicans hating on black people. You know what I mean? You put a video of a street vendor getting assaulted and let the, you know, assailants be black, and you see how much Raza hates black people in those comments. You know what I mean? They let their hatred be known, and then vice versa. Let a situation happen where some Mexicans do something. The videos, right, of the 4 black brothers and sisters that got murdered in Mexico. look, you see all the hatred that black people put, let be known for Mexicans in there. You know what I mean? So you just see on the opposite sides the same situation. That should let you know that we're the same people, because let a situation be like that, and we're quick to show that hatred for one another, man. You know what I mean? Carnalismo is black and brown unity. And part of the problem, right? The whole situation, part of the problem is that we keep sinning, man. Because we keep that black and brown beef is actually, that's a curse in the book of Deuteronomy. Let's actually go there, Jaime. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy 28 and Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Right? Because that'll explain the situation with the street vendors. That'll explain the situation with 6ix9ine.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Right, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. So as you know, like, we're a righteous people, right, Jaime? We're like, in reality, black and brown are a righteous people, man. We got so much love and compassion out there to give. We got so much love and compassion that you got cats like Charleston White go inside with George Zimmerman. But you got cats that'll make jokes out of 6ix9ine getting beat up. You got cats that'll go and harm 6ix9ine for clout. And then you got 6ix9ine that will go and antagonize his own people for clout. You know what I mean? Well, here's as the scripture says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, right? Which is, you're supposed to be tender and delicate with your own. His eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, right? And towards the wife. So you should be delicate with your wife. You should be tender with your children, right? And of course, that's why you have the fatherless homes. This is our oppression. And why? Because we do the things that the Lord told us not to do, right? Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 1, carnal. Jump up to verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
And what are the commandments again? Which is brotherhood, right? And that it shall come to pass, that thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth, right? So you want to know why black and brown are in such a low state, why we get demonized, and why we're the laughing stock of our society? Because let me say this, that situation with 6ix9ine, we're the laughing stock to the whole world. You know what I mean? That situation with Charleston White, siding with George Zimmerman, we're the laughing stock to the whole world. When you got Latinos for Trump, we're the laughing stock to the whole world, right? When we're supposed to be high above all nations of the earth, but we're not, because we don't keep that brotherhood for one another. We don't love one another. To love your brother is to keep the commandments. We go sin, which is to do the opposite, which is to not keep the commandments, to do the opposite of what the commandments say, to go rob and steal and commit adultery. That's what we do. And hence why we're in that state we're in right now, where we're the laughing stock of the whole world. When God said if we keep that carnalismo, keeping the commandments, we will be high above all the nations. That's why Asians can go and push a Stop Asian Hate movement and get a law passed by Joe Biden. Meanwhile, you can't start a Stop Latino movement. And meanwhile, they're still taking forever to pass the laws to protect the street vendors. And it's open season for them. It's open season for young black and brown men by all these other nations and their own, because we lack the brotherhood, right? Because this is a warning from the Most High. Now, if you could, now go to verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord. So the Lord is telling you to practice Carnalismo, right? God is telling you to do it, to observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which he commands you this till this day, till today. We will always have to be practicing Carnalismo. You know what I mean? We will always have to be practicing brotherhood and sisterhood. That's in our law. That's in our culture. That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And it's not magic. It's not rocket science. You see why? Like I said, once again, 6ix9ine getting beat up. The street vendors getting assaulted. Black and brown men getting murdered by police, unarmed. We're all not keeping the commandments shows how ununified we are. These other nations, they're high above. They're you know, you will never see an Asian getting beat up, you know, by the hands of another Asian and be made the laughing stock for the whole world. Why? Because they're unified. They keep that brotherhood. So we need to do that, man. We need to keep that brotherhood. You know what the Asians also are not trying to do, Jaime? I'm going to tell you what they're not trying to do. They're not trying to be Americans, right? Because that's what we do, right? Hey, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shamar Alatah Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. To the sister Rika checking in from Riverside. You know what I mean? Like that's what I said. Like the lack of unity, the lack of brotherhood goes to the lack of unity, to the lack of being organized as a people. And now you're open season to all these other nations, and all these nations look at you and see how they're not supposed to be. And now that's why they do the op. You know what I mean? That's why they're in a higher state than you're in. They're above you when they're below you, man. Like, ain't that something, Jaime? Let me say this, man. Oh man, let me see if I can find that video of the Asians telling the street vendors to go back to their country. I gotta find that video, man. Right, because here's another curse, right? Bear with me 1 second. That's like the video of the Asian man telling the brother man that this is a no N-word zone. You know what I mean? that like out of all people, right?
Right.
Was it this one right here? There's another, like there's thousands of these videos, man. I want to find the one of the where they tell, you know what I mean? Is this the one where he tells him to go back to his country?
Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh. Get out of here. Leave. Why?
Look at this, Jaime.
This is illegal.
Why? ¿Por qué me pegas? Take it easy.
I'm gonna yell.
Take it easy.
No.
Take it easy, sir.
No. This
Take
is wrong.
it easy.
This is illegal. You being illegal. You
Why?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Did you just hear this, man? Oh my good night, man. Like this just comes to show you, right? This is what lack of brotherhood amongst us creates for us, man. Now they think they can come over here and treat us like this. Let me go to Deuteronomy 28 and where it says, "Ye shall be the head, ye shall be the tail, and they shall be the head." The stranger that is among thee. You got it right there, Jaime. That right there in the 20th chapter of Deuteronomy.
Got it.
This is Deuteronomy 20 and 143.
Yeah, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Right. What's the next verse say?
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
Now you want to see how the Bible is real and it's talking about us? Now let me play the video from the beginning. Look, this is the stranger being the head and you being the tail.
Why?
You know what I mean?
This is illegal. Why? ¿Por qué me pegas? Take it easy. Take it easy. No. Take it easy, sir. No. Take it easy. This is illegal. You being illegal, you recording that? No problem. Go ahead. You are criminal. Yeah, why? Yeah. No, go. You're not getting. You want to do this? You want to do this? This is probably this for you, not for me. This is my.
I'm like, I mean, this is Deuteronomy. You want to say the scripture doesn't apply to Mexicans, to raza? I mean, that we just showed you right there that that also applies to us. You know what I mean? This to sister Batarawna. So like I might be mispronouncing your name. So like it says, but sister Batarawna. Hey, Shalom, sis Yahweh Shema Alata Bashim Yahushai. And David Coronado said, you know, I hate when people say that. Yeah, me too, David. I hate it too. I hate when these other nations, real illegal immigrants, want to come and treat my people like we're illegal immigrants. Want to tell us to go back to where we came from, man. That guy had to say is like, I don't got to go. What do you mean I'm illegal? I'm on my land. I don't got to go nowhere. You can go back to where you came from, though. Of course, he won't tell him that. You know why? You know why he didn't tell him to go back to China or go back to Asia? Because of Stop Asian Hate. Because when you tell an Asian that, you know what I mean, they got the power to silence you. But as you see, that doesn't exist with us. There is no Stop Latino Hate movement. You know what I mean? We have to make hashtags. We got to push a movement called Protect the Street Vendors. And you know what I mean? And it doesn't, you know what I mean? That like nothing's being done to stop it. You can have all the brown berets out there. You can have various, you know, TikTok videos. You could have any movement. You can arm them up in it, but it's not going to stop. The assaults are not going to stop. These nations are not going to stop, you know what I mean, coming after them unless we come together like a raza. The assault on the street vendors will stop when norteños and sureños really unite and drop the culture of gangbanging. When the cartels stop the culture of dealing drugs and stop, you know, serving this oppressor. When they start standing up for their raza and protecting their people, you know, that's when these assaults will stop. That's when these situations will stop. El Paso, Gilroy, all these attacks from white supremacists will stop once we stop hating on one another. Once Mexicans and stop calling themselves Mexican American, that's when these assaults will stop. That's when the street vendors will be protected. You know what I mean? That's what needs to be done, Jaime.
That's right,
and that just comes to show you, right? I mean, you know, that how the scriptures apply to us, man. You know what I mean? Like let's go more to the brotherhood, right? Now let's go to what Christ said. Good, Jaime. Go to the book of Matthew 22, verse 36. I'm going to go there with you, carnal. You know, and that's all I'm trying to teach, Jaime. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to teach brotherhood. That's all the UPK is trying to teach to our raza, man. That's what the whole point of the Bible is. It's carnalismo, man. And all the situations and issues exist, right? All the hell that we're going through exists because we don't have that carnalismo for our own, man. You see it amongst the other nations. You know what I mean? Because we don't keep the law, which is means you're not keeping brotherhood, man. You're over there. Everyone's wondering how these other nations were able to come into our ghettos and our barrios and own all the businesses when the only reason why is because we don't have brotherhood for one another. We're too busy being Crips and Bloods. We're too busy being, norteños and sureños, being vice lords and gangster disciples, Latin kings, and what's that one gang out there that has so many different gangs, you know what I mean? Barrio sets, whatever you want to call them. We'd rather go follow this oppressor and be like him than to follow our own culture and be amongst our own. And you see it. That's how poetic the Most High is, Jaime. That he's showing you what keeping that brotherhood and sisterhood does for all these other nations. Why is the Jewish man so powerful and able to, be in the state he's in that high state? Because they got the brotherhood for their own, man. They're united as a people. That's why you can't even speak anything negative against the Jewish community. That's how strong and organized they are because they have that brotherhood for their. They took our culture and applied it to them. Now imagine how it would be for us. But whenever you got it, carnal.
That's right. The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Verse 37. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. Verse 38.
Let me read to catch up with you. So as the scripture says, right? They're asking Christ, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Adawan, what is the greatest commandment in the law? And Yahawashi said unto him, right? Is this where you at, Jaime?
Wakan, sir.
Go ahead, Karnal.
Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Yahawashi said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. You want to know something, Jaime? That's why we cannot abandon this work. That's why we cannot leave and drop our swords, because you're not dropping the sword for yourself, man. You're not leaving for yourself. You're abandoning your brothers, man. You know what I mean? And that just comes to show you're abandoning your brothers, you're abandoning your raza, you're abandoning your nation. That's why coming into the truth is more than just, simply just, learning in class. It's more than that. Get in class, yeah, learn this truth, but apply it to your life and stick around and be with the brotherhood, because we need that brotherhood. We need that carnalismo, and we're going to demonstrate it to everyone else. There's no reason why there should be fake Israelite groups, Jaime. Fake Israelite groups, you know what I mean, demonstrate the lack of brotherhood because they're showing that they didn't follow Christ. You know what I mean? That's why and that's the other thing. People get so outraged and offended when we say John the Baptist was not in the truth. He wasn't, because he did not follow Christ. He wasn't under Christ's baptism, which is under Christ's leadership. You know what I mean? He wanted to, do his own thing. You got to respect, the brother above you that might know something, might know more than you, that knows what he's doing, that is going to steer you in the right path. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you weak to follow, the men above you. Life is about rank and order. There's rank and order in everything. You know what I mean?
Sir.
You gotta have that, and the reason why, you know, like people don't respect that rank and order is because they don't have that love for themselves. You know what I mean? They have that love, you know, they're trying to be vain and want the authority, but reality, man, you don't have no love. You hate your brother when you don't you don't respect his rank over you. You know what I mean? When you don't respect that he was put in that position of power, and John the Baptist demonstrated that. He demonstrated that he didn't love Christ. You know what I mean? Because then he sent his disciples, right, to go ask Christ, are ye him, or do we seek another? Instead of saying, you know what, that's Christ, go follow Christ. I'm gonna, you know what, the Lord chose this brother right here. I'm gonna follow him. Y'all should follow me and follow him, following me and following him. You know what I mean?
Con.
And that's why everyone should get in the UPK. All so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans should come into the UPK, right? And you know what? Here's the proof, right? Right. Stealing from one West, hating on his brothers, right? Now go to the book of I think it's John 12 and 35. He's gonna rock out for a few more minutes, Simon, and then we're gonna close the class out.
Con. The book of John.
Salaki. Salaki, it's not 12. Go to John 13, 34 to 35.
13.
Let me get there with you. You got it?
Con.
All right, go ahead, Kana.
The book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another.
A new commandment I give unto you, right? That's Christ speaking, that ye love one another as I had loved you, that ye also love one another, right? What's that commandment? To love your brother as yourself, right? And what is love? Keeping the commandments. Now read the next verse.
Verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciple, if ye have loved one to another.
God, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, meaning you are Christ's disciples. If ye have loved one to another, right? Which is keeping the commandments, which is Carnalismo. So where's I.S.U.P.K in the Bible, right? For them fake Israelites that ask, go to John 13, 34 and 35. That's where the I.S.U.P.K is in the Bible. That's where it's the home of the truth, because that's our job, to keep those commandments, to keep that brotherhood and sisterhood. One thing I can say about the I.S.U.P.K, Jaime, is that we teach brotherhood and sisterhood. We practice brotherhood and sisterhood. We teach Carnalismo. We practice Carnalismo. You know what I mean? And that's how you know who's in the truth and who's not. And here a brother is not going to sleep with your woman. And here a brother's not going to steal from you. A carnal is not going to lie on you. A carnal is not going to hate on you and want what you have and take it from you. And here we got love and respect for one another. You know what I mean? We have to have love and respect. Otherwise, we're not following Christ. That's what it means to be in the truth, man. It's more than just keeping the commandments. It's loving that, you know, it's knowing your brother, who your brother is, and applying it. You know what I mean? Yeah, anyone can learn the commandments, but are you keeping them? Are you applying it? Are you loving that black and brown man as yourself? You know what I mean? Because that's what it means to love your brother as yourself, man. Stand up for that street vendor, right? So stop trying to steal from. Stop trying to assault the street vendor. Stop trying to disrespect your black brothers and sisters. Stop trying to disrespect the Mexicans. Them cats like Dr. Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed, I mean, keep the Mexicans out your mouth. You know what I mean? That's what I would say, man. Stop disrespecting your Mexican brothers and sisters, man. When you got a real enemy out there that's murdering you. And you got a real enemy that's trying to exterminate you. Khan. One body, man. One body, one spirit, one baptism. And all you other Israelite groups out there, man, put your vain glory aside, man, and humble yourselves. Get in the body in One West and I.S.U.P.K. and be properly taught, man. You want to know how I.S.U.P.K. is in the truth or is the home of the truth and we truly follow Christ? Because them rumors about the lack of brotherhood don't come out. You won't see a brother make a documentary about I.S.U.P.K. and talk about, you know, that the leadership on top was trying to take his woman. The leadership on top was robbing from him. You know what I mean? All you other groups, man, their dirty laundry gets exposed. You know what I mean? That's all I add to that, Jaime. You know what I mean? Don't go too much into it, but just that's how you know where the home of the truth is. And that's what Christ said. You know what I mean? By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, right? The brotherhood and sisterhood we keep, the Carnalismo we practice is how you love Christ. And that's why you know what I mean, Jaime? That comes to show how nobody knows the Bible. Comes to show how no one knows, you know, what this Bible really, you know, what this Bible is really saying. Raza is quick to demonize the Bible, talk about, oh, it was used to kill my ancestors, when the whole point of this book is Carnalismo. That's the whole point. Meanwhile, you're in a revolutionary group trying to fight for, you know, social justice for your raza, but you're not teaching brotherhood. It's like I said, the brown berets were out there, and you saw the lack of brotherhood because it got their women out there in harm's way. You got children out there. Why ain't none of them brothers out there, you know, in tactical gear, you know, ready, you know what I mean? Having everyone behind them, but they got their women out there in the forefront, man. That just comes to show, man, like, you put your women out on the battlefield, you're no different than the cat in the hood that's the lame that hides behind his woman when cats try to start beefing them. You're that same lane that, you know, when your enemiga comes around the corner and you got your woman right there with you, your Hannah right there with you, she's right there between you and him. That situation should never exist. You know what I mean? And the Vario recognizes it. That's why they call that person a lame. You know what I mean? They call him, you know, a chavala.
That's right.
Because it's cowardly, man. It's cowardly, man. But no sweat, man. You know what I mean? We understand. Out there in the world, people don't have the brotherhood. Like I said, that's how non-existent it is. But yeah, we went a little bit over the time. We started late, of course, you know, technical difficulties. Mexican time, Jaime.
Sir.
Con. But yeah, that just comes to show, man. So keeping the law is carnalismo. Wake up. That's how you wake up, man. You wake up by keeping that brotherhood, man. By being a brother, being a carnal, and loving that brown man and sister as yourself. Loving that black man and woman as yourself, right?
Con.
Is there any more to this one? Con, all right. So once again, man, carnalismo, man, that's what the law is. Law is brotherhood and sisterhood. In Spanish, right? Or as us Mexicans say, carnalismo. That's what the law is, man. That's what serving Christ is. That's what serving the Most High is.
Con.
But with that concludes tonight's class. You know what I mean? We're the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. This is the Wednesday night law class. Of course, you know, Lord allow, well, next week we got the Passover, right, Jaime?
Yeah.
We got the Passover. You want to talk about carnalismo? You're gonna see carnalismo, you know what I mean, in being practiced. The best demonstration of carnalismo will be next week out there in North Carolina in Raleigh. So all you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, all you raza out there listening right now, man, y'all should get out there to North Carolina April 1st at 5 p.m., man. And this will be the Lord's 54th annual Passover, man. That's what, you know, you want to, you know, let me say this, man. Everyone, what the Passover represents, right? represents freedom, represents liberation, represents the end of oppression for the Israelites. God took them out, right? That's why God slayed the firstborn of every Egyptian. People want to talk about, oh, how horrible you worship a God that kills babies and this and that. Meanwhile, not realizing that the Egyptians were doing that to them. That what happened, and God gave the Egyptians, it didn't have to happen to them if they would just let the Israelites go. You know what I mean? You don't have to suffer these things. We don't serve a God that wants to go out and that's a bloodthirsty animal like the so-called white man. We serve a merciful God. And he doesn't ultimately want to have to do the tough, cruel punishments that enact people, but he has to do them when no one, listens to him. When you oppress his people, you got to deal with the consequences. You know what cats in the world say? They say they don't violate people that don't have it coming, right? People could, that's why I was trying to be careful how I said it, Jaime, because I don't want to sound like, like a Christian when referring to Tekashi 6ix9ine, but at the same time, Tekashi 6ix9ine did some stuff. So, it came back to him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow. You know what I mean? But that's just not to side note too much. That's what the Passover is about. The Passover is about us getting justice, something we've never known. You know what I mean? It's so foreign to us. But come next, next week, man. What is Saturday, April 1st, at 5 p.m. in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the Raleigh Convention Center, man. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, man. It's a whole week of things planned, right, Jaime? Starting from I think Wednesday, we got the all black party. We got the scripture breakdown class with General Hyman, the feast of unleavened bread,
right? And the slaughtering kicking it off, the slaughtering of the lamb,
right? The slaughtering of the lamb, man. That's also that Wednesday, huh? I haven't got my chance yet, Hyman. get there, So not got a chance to make one, but Lord allow I can make one soon, man. Be right there. Right, we're gonna just play this promo for the Passover, and then we're gonna close it out. Let's see. All right, just give me 1 second. All right, Raza. So that concludes the Wednesday night law class. Like as I said earlier, we're the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. We got the Wednesday night class every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We got classes every, out here in Southern California from Tuesday to Saturday, Tuesday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And the Sabbath service every Saturday from 10 to 12. And then every Monday night out here, we got our show, our podcast, U.P.K, La Pura Neta podcast, you know what I mean? Which is, I got to plug in my podcast. I mean,
right.
Well, our podcast, Alakia, you know what I mean? The podcast where the Raza, y'all want to check it out. Subscribe on YouTube, U.P.K, La Pura Neta podcast. Type it up, go to the channel, subscribe, Bubba Kasha. Hey, the water you, sis, for tuning in. You know what I mean? In order to allow, we can get more, more classes out there for the Raza, so we can show how this is a Raza movement as well, which is a brown movement, not just a, of course, when everyone hears the word Hebrew Israelite, you only assume a so-called African American, when in reality, there's also Native Americans and there's also so-called Hispanics that are in there. You know what I mean? Hey, Shalom, Kanan to Avant, so we got our show every Monday night at 9 p.m. U.P.K La Pura Neta. Classes Tuesday through Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and the Sabbath service on every Saturday from 10 to 12. And then we got camp out in Hollywood every Saturday from 2 p.m. until, you know what I mean, right across the street from Jimmy Kimmel Live. But with that, Raza, we're gonna close it out. We out of here. Shalom, Yabashim Shabashai Barakatah to the brothers. And Yahweh Shema Alatah Bashim Yahweh to the sisters. With that, Shalom, Israel. Shalom, Rasa.
Shalom.
Yo soy oficial Ashkowar de la I.S.U.P.K y los estamos invitando a la Pascua en Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. Va a empezar el 1 de abril. Asegúrense que vengan a visitarnos para celebrar este día santo de nuestro Dios. Estamos invitando a todos negros, latinos e indios nativos, el pueblo elegido de nuestro Dios en la Biblia. Nosotros somos los israelitas, los 12 tribus que están escritos en la Biblia. Asegúrense que estén ahí con nosotros celebrando este día santo de nuestro Dios. Shalom, raza.
Shalom, Israel.